Am I the asshole for showing my husband the text his mom sent me and causing her to be disowned? To start, me and my mother-in-law have never gotten along. She hates my guts and can be oversensitive oftentimes. I tried not to give her the wrong impression about me, but we just don't like each other. Sunday, I was feeling sick. I'm a new mom, by the way, and couldn't eat what she cooked for dinner, and she seemed to take it personal. She sent me a private message of what seemed to be her final straw with my behavior, and it stated the following: copy, paste. Oh yes, I know and feel your passive-aggressive vibe. You keep pretending to be sick so you won't have to eat what I cook. What? You think my cooking is disgusting? You think I'm unhygienic? When was the last time you actually looked at yourself in the mirror? Apologies, I forgot you're a new mom and can't be bothered to even get your hair brushed. You finally trapped our son and now want to use the baby as a pawn. I don't like the fact you're my grandchild's mother. I don't think I'll ever come to terms with it because you bore him. But I'll pretend. Pretend I don't know my son's been having chats with his ex every chance he gets. Be mean to his mommy. Me. And you'll see how far that gets you. Oh, and when I watch your shitbeast dog, it stays chained to a garage day and night until a half hour before you arrive. It stinks up my house, you know, same with your hair and clothes. My mind was blown and my gut reaction was to immediately go to my husband and show him what his mom sent, and he didn't take it well. He tried calling her but she didn't respond. It was 11 p.m. and he decided to drive to his parents' house and pick a fight with her about the text. According to my sister-in-law number 1 who witnessed it, he yelled at his mother and berated her and called her names, then disowned her, which shocked everyone in the house. My mother-in-law is diabetic, she fainted on the spot and my husband didn't stop, he just walked out of there while his family were yelling at him. I got several calls and texts from them claiming I just caused irreparable damage in my husband's relationship with his mother, jeopardized her health because she was taken to the hospital, and worst of all, making my husband disown her over what? A dinner that I could have gotten a few bites of? A simple misunderstanding? They accused me of causing this shit show and turning my husband on his own mother and disowning her like that. Sister-in-law number 3 berated me for sharing the text with my husband, saying I should have confronted my mother-in-law alone instead of escalating the situation. She said I'm responsible for whatever happens next and have to fix the problem I created. I feel awful overall and so guilty since she's at the hospital and the family are feeling tense. My husband is avoiding me. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, you had to show that message to your husband. That was a very disturbing text. I also find it weird that she fainted. My son is diabetic and he has never fainted from being confronted. Not the asshole. Rule number 1 with toxic families: let the related partner handle the own family. You did the right thing by showing him the text and not escalate the matter by yourself. And it was his decision how to react. Mommy dearest was so shocked that her son would chose to defend you, she probably fainted out of shock. Edit. Thank you all for all the upvotes and awards. I got several calls and texts from them claiming I just caused irreparable damage in my husband's relationship with his mother. Oh, no. You didn't cause that damage, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Your mill caused all that pain and decided that sending a message to purposely hurt you was the way to go. She probably expected you to be so hurt by that message, especially the part where she threw in about your husband chatting with his ex, that you would end up fighting with him. Instead, you showed him and he got to see just how spiteful Mill is towards you. It's sad she is in hospital though, but that's not your fault either. Also, being a new mom is fucking hard. You're already dealing with enough stress as it is, you don't need this. Good luck and congrats on the new bub. Odds are that her claim that she tortures your pet to punish you is absolutely true, and a real insight into her character. Not the asshole. Op danger 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 read this top-level comment by you, Zopranaut. Odds are that her claim that she tortures your pet to punish you is absolutely true, and a real insight into her character. And regardless of what reconciliation may take place in the future, do not ever leave your children alone in the care of this woman for a single instant. ETA, perhaps I should have said, pretended reconciliation, because I doubt that your Mill will ever truly change the toxic hatred she clearly feels. Not the asshole. Your Mill thought she could abuse you and get away with it. Her son let her know that wasn't the case. She experienced the consequences of her own hatefulness. This woman attacked you, admitted to animal abuse, and thought framing her own son as a cheater was better than you being in his life. You did the right thing showing her little hate manifesto to your husband. She was held responsible for what she did. If the Sills don't want to acknowledge that, they ought to be cut off as well. Not the asshole. Your mill played Olympic level fuck around and find out, and she got the gold. Getting away from that piece of work is a stellar end to 2021. Not the asshole. That was one hell of a message. I understand why your mill didn't say that to you where your husband could hear her. Too bad for her that it backfired. If she didn't want her son to read this, she shouldn't have sent it. You are not responsible for her words, nor for your husband's response to them. Furthermore, it's very common for each partner in a relationship to handle the communication with their own family. Good on your husband for sticking up for you. Am I the asshole for refusing to take my name of the deed to my mother-in-law's home? Me and my partner have been together for 8 years, married for 2 of them. 5 years ago we bought a home together, a small 2-bedroom unit, just to see if we could coexist without killing one another, with the intention of only staying a few years before we got married and then upgraded to something larger. 3 years on, we had enough of a deposit to do just that when my partner's mother came to us asking for help. She wanted to buy a place but didn't have anything in the way of savings. She was tired of renting as it was becoming more and more expensive. We talked about the issue, knowing that if we agreed to help it meant delaying our own upgrade by a further 3 years at minimum. With some hesitation on our part, we nevertheless did the right thing and helped out his mother by giving her $90,000, the sum total of all our savings at the time, making it clear it was just a loan, and she bought a place also with the aid of her other son. Recently my partner has been talking to me about getting my name taken off the documentation to the house, so it is only her name and 2 sons on all the paperwork. I know his mother has been in his ear about it because he only ever brings it up after a solo visit to her. For a while I avoided the conversation, but recently my husband has had an actual conversation with a lawyer to draw up paperwork to have my name legally removed. When I found out, I told my husband we needed to have a serious talk, and I told him honestly that I would not remove my name from the documentation because, to date, his mother has not paid either of us back a single cent of the money we lent her. This angered my husband, who said I had agreed to take my name off the documentation, that's why he spoke to a lawyer in the first place. When I insisted I never agreed and that I was just protecting us both by insisting our names stay on all the documentation, he called me paranoid that his mother would never cheat us. Now I feel guilty. Am I the asshole for refusing to remove my name from the documentation, seeing as I did help pay for the place she bought, and without our help she would still be stuck renting? Not the asshole. You know that your mill is trying to cheat you. The bigger problem is that your husband is now participating. Is there anything in writing indicating that this is a loan or listing a repayment schedule? Not the asshole. Your mill has already cheated the 2 of you by not paying back the $90,000 you lent her. I wouldn't take my name off a single thing until every dollar loaned was repaid, in full. Not payments that can be dragged out over years or forgotten about. If this isn't acceptable, then you might want to suggest they sell the house and pay you back what is owed. Not the asshole, and your husband tried to gaslight you. IWD talked to a lawyer of my own, and it's time to start demanding the money mill starts being repaid. You were incredibly generous, but now you need to ensure you won't be ripped off. Why is he wanting your name off? His calling you paranoid is unacceptable. If anything, you need to check that he has not forgiven the loan behind your back and that its existence is legally binding. Please report back. To be honest, IWD be going for a lay-heir and a trial separation in your place. Not the asshole. You are about to get conned. If you take your name off that deed, you are never going to see a penny. Unfortunately, it seems like your husband is helping her steal from you. Why are you letting this happen? Not the asshole. If she wants your name off, then she needs to pay you back. Your name on that deed is basically collateral that you will get your $90,000 back. Not the asshole. Never, ever put yourself at financial risk because she would never cheat us. What is their explanation for wanting your name taken off it? Not the asshole. WTF? This is some fucked up shit. My brain exploded. $90,000? Holy heck, this is giving me anxiety. Do not sign anything he gives you. Do not take your name off that deed. He can call you paranoid all he likes, but he's not the one getting screwed over. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for not clarifying my name? I am a woman, but have a name that can easily be confused for a man's. I also run a business. About a week ago, I bumped into a lady running down the hallway who seemed incredibly nervous, causing me to spill my drink all over my shirt. She explained she was here for a job interview, and was incredibly frazzled because she had heard the boss was a huge bitch and horrible to work for. I instantly knew she was talking about me, but the iced coffee soaking my clothes was my main focus, so I told her to follow me into my office and we would get to the interview when I cleaned myself up. She must have taken me saying, "Get to the interview," as I would show her to the boss's office, not that I would sit down and start the interview in a moment. The entire time I was in the bathroom silently trying to dry myself off. She was talking about how she didn't even know if she wanted to take this job because of how horrible the boss was. I tried not to engage, because I really didn't want to stand there and listen to her talk about what an evil person I was. But I didn't know how to break it to her that I'm Devin, not Devin. When I finally got at least somewhat cleaned off, pulled a sweater over my stained shirt and walked out, she was still going. I told her we would start with the interview, and she looked confused, but quickly realized her mistake. I apologized, then told her I didn't think she would be a good fit for the position. I didn't care about what she said about me. I had thick skin and had heard far worse than that. She just seemed too nervous and frantic for a job you need to be calm and collected in. She started yelling at me, telling me this was my fault and I should have stopped her. My assistant has been giving me grief about it all week, and I'm starting to think he's right. I see where he is coming from. I could have easily corrected her about my gender and status, but at the same time, I needed to monitor who I worked with, and someone this willing to gossip about a person they didn't even know well enough to know the gender of didn't seem like a good fit. Am I the asshole for not stopping her? She was stupid for saying all that at a potential new job. Even if you weren't the boss, who comes into an interview trashing the person they'll be working for? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. But speaking as someone who's been a hiring manager for 25 years, I would look at this incident from another perspective. This has nothing to do with your name, your gender, or a spilled beverage. Any candidate who arrives for an interview already bad-mouthing management should not be working for that company. You could have cancelled the interview in the hallway, which is what I would have done, but despite her behavior you extended her the courtesy of a private conversation in your office. You did nothing wrong here. Not the asshole. Rule number 1 for interviews is to be nice to everyone you meet on the way to the interview. Like, even if you weren't the boss, all that badmouthing was extremely unprofessional. She started yelling at you? Yeah, you are not the asshole. She doesn't really deserve a job if she's the kind of person to come into a new workplace, create a clumsy accident and, instead of apologizing for it, immediately start talking shit about a boss she doesn't know and hasn't met to someone she doesn't know anything about. People like that are absolutely the worst, and if she started yelling at you, then imagine drama she would have caused in the workplace. My assistant has been giving me grief about it all week. Don't think your assistant should be giving you grief on this? Don't really value assistants who don't have your back. If he can't see the logic behind your decision and choices, why is he assisting you? Not the asshole. Am I the only one laughing over this? There's been a rule in the business world for a long time to be careful what you say and how you treat people you don't know. The interviewee obviously hadn't heard that or didn't learn it. Not the asshole for booting her out of the interview. What kind of person walks into an office they don't know, and immediately start bad-mouthing management? Even if you wouldn't be the person conducting the interview, why was she unloading you? You could have easily told the actual interviewer and lost her the opportunity. Her yelling at you is the icing on the hugely unprofessional cake? We need for more information though. Why do you have a bad representative? Who's talking smack about you? Info. Something seems missing here. Not the asshole. This applicant already showed her true colors by gossiping, and she would create a ton of drama. You did the right thing. Am I the asshole for not giving my husband the prize I won? My husband of 8 years is a gamer, which has never been a problem until now. When COVID hit our country, not USA, we both lost out jobs and had to eke out government payments by running up our credit cards. We're working now, but we both took pay cuts and we've hardly scratched the debt. Then I won a prize in a competition, and all bells and whistles gaming setup. PC, dual monitors, desk, chair, headset, everything down to the mouse. Thing is, the cash alternative I asked about would more than halve our debt. More like down to a quarter. Hubby wants the setup. It's more than we could ever afford to buy him. He says it's his only chance to have a setup like this. I'd love to say yes, but the credit card debt is looming over us like the hand of doom. Our credit isn't good enough to swap to a good rate, and it'll be years before we could pay it off at this rate and cost an arm and a leg. He's been sulking for days and I feel like the only grown-up and a big old meanie, but am I? Not the asshole. Your husband needs to realize that you can't afford not to take the cash. Not the asshole. Let's say instead that you just won the cash prize. And say this gaming system came up for sale at the same price. Would you run out and spend all the cash on the gaming system? I meant to be a rhetorical question. I certainly hope not, given your circumstances. It would be stupidly irresponsible. Not the asshole. I am a gamer myself. It sounds like a dream setup, but you both have to be the responsible ones in this situation. Take the cash alternative, it will save you a lot of headaches along the way. He will be pissed for sure and he will probably not have the chance to get such a setup for years. But try to explain that to him. These are freaking hard times. You have the chance to make your overall situation better. He is allowed to be angry. However, the money will help to probably cut years off of your debt, and after some time, he may be able to purchase a better setup. I would also take a part of the money to save it. You never know what will happen. Car breaking down, medical bill, etc. Not the asshole. He's acting like a child. Not the asshole. The credit card is building interest, and that interest builds interest and so on, so it's more than just the quarter decrease. You can always buy a gaming PC in the future. Not the asshole. Bills first, toys later. Not the asshole. My husband, 24 male, and I, 22 female, are both gamers, and while we'd both love a gaming setup like that, taking care of your financial situation is far more important and the responsible thing to do. There's always time to save what you can and eventually get the dream setup he wants. I hope he'll come around and see the importance of getting rid of debt. Not the asshole. Your husband is a moron for not prioritizing the debt. Also, why should he get the setup and not you if you were the one who won the prize?